Hello and welcome. I am so glad you're here. I'm Beth, a creator-based coach with CMH Coaching for Life. I'm here today to help you and those you love create a life you feel grounded and at home in. Think of a life where you feel peace, love for those around you, and in a flow with just enough challenge to keep you happy and creating something wonderful. Sounds like magic, but it's not. You can create that life every single day. You can have a life full of love, excitement, hope, and creation. Our mission at CMH Coaching is to flood the earth with light through compassion, mindfulness, and hope. And I'm going to ask a favor of you. If you like what you see and hear today, think of someone you know that would enjoy and benefit from this message. Our mission is to flood the world with compassion, mindfulness, and hope. Share this with them. But for now, this is time just for you. So settle into whatever you're doing and enjoy this time with the girls, where we create that one awesome, amazing, perfect life every one of us is seeking. I think it's just plain exciting. Today's first day of spring. What are y'all doing to celebrate?
Is it really? I didn't even know that.
It is first day of spring. And it is cold and gray in Texas, let me tell you.
It's sunny and in like high 40s, low 50s here. So I went out and weeded. So
what? Nice.
Yeah.
Out in the dirt. That's happy.
It does. It makes me happy. It makes me happy to dig in the dirt, pull weeds. Yeah.
Good for the soul, man, working in the soil. I like that. It was beautiful. I heard somebody this morning talking about how they always thought good for the soul was good for the soil. It was a gardener who's talking about he's good. Texas gardener saying good for the soul, good for the soul. You need more calcium for that soul. And he didn't understand it till he was grown up, that it was good for the soil.
Awesome. That's great.
Texas for you. I thought it was pretty great. Yep. So any other plans for first day of spring? It's a beautiful day. It's the beginning of hope all over again, the fresh hope of spring. I love it.
I did see we have a few tulips that are starting to like sprout their little heads. So yeah, that's exciting.
Happy. Yeah, we are full of grape hyacinths, just like a carpet of purple out in the west part of our yard. It's really pretty. I can't wait for the blue bonnets, right? Love those Texas blue bonnets.
So fun.
It's beautiful. So continuing our conversation on hope, it seems apropos that today we talked just a little bit about hope is great, but have you ever seen the dangers of hoping or the dangers of having a dream? And Jen and I were talking about this a couple days ago, and I know you had something to say about that. You want to share the dangers of hoping or dangers of having a dream?
I can't remember like how we were talking, what we came up with, but if you're not realistically hoping, you can get into that. Like if it doesn't come to fruition, just being totally like discouraged and upset. So, I mean, I'm just really learning in my path right now and in the past, 4 or 5 years, just to really look at things with perspective. And
realistic hope.
Realistic, but then even some hope, it would be pleasantly surprising if it turned out this way, but I'm not going to put all my eggs in that basket in case it doesn't. But like having more realism in my hoping.
Yeah. Well, there's lots of different kinds of hope. There really is a realistic hope, understanding what your current circumstances are, right? And believing in the possibility of good things to come. That's a realistic hope.
Yeah.
It's, yes, this is where we are right now, but I do believe that things will come and good things are coming and it will change.
Mm-hmm.
That's a realistic hope. Yeah. What do you think, Jacine?
I was just thinking back in my childhood, my dad was a dreamer. And so for years, he would say, we're going to Disneyland. I'm taking you all to Disneyland this year. This
is the year.
Yeah. And it never, ever came into fruition. And by the time I was a teenager, I saw my dad as a liar.
Yeah.
So that's how I perceived him. And I just perceived him as like, all he does is tell us all these great things and nothing ever happens. And
Wow.
so, which is interesting because as I thought about that, I thought, well, then why do I still hope? I didn't lose that in me, and I didn't lose that dream in me, but more like Jen, it was, I learned to say, here's hope with a plan. And with this plan, I can, if everything goes right, in my plan, even if it doesn't, then what can I do to alter it? So, I still have that everything is possible viewpoint.
Right.
But I know that it takes action and it takes courage and it takes perseverance in order for that hope to manifest itself. So, yeah.
Yeah. There is hope. We talked earlier about hope being a cognitive process. And it sounds that's kind of like what you've learned to do is to turn hope as a thought out plan of action.
Yeah.
Yes. Making it more realistic. You kind of have like goals thinking, like you figured it out and this is my goal. And with that goal, then I have hope.
Right.
Is that right?
It is right. But then I went to another place in time where I started writing out, my vision board, because I love the vision board. And Jen, like, I wish I was Jen who took the time
vision board, yes.
book, but I'm not quite like that. I write it out. And years ago, when we first moved to our first farm, I wrote down a list of, we want horses, and this is how much I'm willing to pay for our horses. We want a new freezer. This is how much I'm willing to pay for a new freezer. And here's our 5-year plan. And then long-term plan was we owned 70 feet of a beautiful pond in the back of our property. And I wrote on that piece of paper that I wanted to own that pond. I wanted it to be ours.
The whole thing.
Right, the whole pond. I wanted that pond. I wanted access. That's more what I wanted. I wanted access to that pond. And it's interesting how that works. So I wrote that all down. And probably about 6 or 7 years before we moved, the owners of the property, they didn't live in state. We had never met them. And they came because they were going to do some logging. Anyway, long story short, they were having issues with the caregivers of their property, and Mark, being in law enforcement, he had come to Mark for some questions. Long story short, we became the caregivers of their 140 acres right behind our acreage, that led into the forestry right behind them. And we had full access to that pond. And we didn't have to pay We didn't have to pay anything, but it was ours. They came to town once a week, a year. But it was ours. And it was like, it's interesting how that hope and how those dreams manifest, but maybe not in the way that we think they're going to manifest themselves.
But you wrote it down and you put it out there. This is what I want. And somehow that starts that cognitive process in your brain and opens the way. We did the same thing when we were young marrieds, made a list of 5 and 10-year goals, and brand new. We were in our early 20s, made this really ambitious list, and we're all excited, and then put it away and never looked at it again, And 15 or 20 years later, found that binder and went through that binder and went, oh my gosh, look, every single one of these things came to pass. With the energy of just the determination, we're going to do this, actually putting it on paper. It's like Jen's vision book.
Right.
It's a hope book. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of like you're creating the pathway by putting it down, opening it up to manifest that way. But that's exciting. I love that. All right. Well, another question then. Have you ever experienced a group or collective sense of hope? Group hope. Now, I can tell you, Troy and I got involved in some kind of direct marketing campaign when we were in our early 20s. And we were in with a group of people who were super excited, and we were going to be millionaires in the next 6 months, by golly. And that collective hope really spurred us on. I mean, to where I was answering my home phone and pitching people, whoever called my phone, we were all in. So I've had that collective sense of hope that way, but I wasn't a millionaire. But I was super driven and super excited about stuff for a little while, but it wasn't really realistic. Have you guys ever had an experience with collective or group hope? I'll let you think about it one more time. How about this one? We had in our congregation at church a gal who had metastatic breast cancer, and she was going through chemo. And as part of the support, she lost all of her hair. She wore a hat to church every Sunday. And as part of the group support, that hope that we had for her in her life, all the women in the group, in the congregation, started wearing hats to church on Sunday. Red hats or pink hats, one or the other. And everybody had this collective sense of hope that enriched all of our lives and helped all of us do better with whatever we were doing. So I've experienced it that way too. I'm still not a millionaire, but that group hope for the church congregation and that solidarity that we felt, the unity that we created in there was wonderful. And it's gone a long way to help all of us. So
I wonder if that's what happens when you're on like a team sport. And the goal is to win. And so you kind of come together and you hope for that outcome. And so you're driven into one direction. And so I wonder.
Well, and there's a lot of power that unity brings, right? Mm-hmm. All of those people focused in one space with collective hope creates a real power. Yeah. Yeah.
And kind of on the like other side of that too, have you ever been in a group where there is no hope, but there's collective naysaying, there's collective doomsdaying, it can be that way too. And that's why we were talking about this. That's why I kind of think that you choose into hope. So it's a cognitive process. You can choose to have that optimistic outcome and that expected excitement or whatever, however you feel that hope, or you can choose to be negative. So I think it's a cognitive process. And then the emotions come that support it, of, whatever that looks like in that situation, whether it's peace, whether it's encouragement, whether it's empowerment, whether it's calm, or however that looks once you choose into hope.
Well, and that follows the steer model that, steer your life with the situation. You have a thought on that situation. You create an emotion with that thought, and then an experience and a result. So that would fit for hope to be a cognitive process, because through your choosing in, then you're creating that emotion. That's interesting. What do you think, JC?
Man, I had so many thoughts. Like
I could see the wheels just go, as soon as she was talking.
Yeah, because that resonated so much with me, Jen, from the sports teams and going, participating as a runner and having my brothers participate in sports and then going actually into the family situation. And my dad passed away from a heart attack that nobody saw coming at the age of 48 with 4 kids still at home. I was growing up, I was 23, but when you're talking about collective hope, coming together as a family and as siblings, and the older ones especially, being able to say, okay, what can we do to help mom? There was no life insurance policy. And my mom worked as a cleaner part-time. She had not worked outside the house because my dad provided for that. And so just being able to collectively come together as a family in hope, in prayer. And I think that spiritual part played a huge role in my mom being able to carry on, and my younger brothers and sisters being able to feel supported and have what they needed, not just physically but emotionally. And we had to be full of hope during that time that things were going to be okay.
Right. Wow, what a powerful thing. That is beautiful. Okay, so if we can use cognitive hope, then all the way through last fall, we talked about all of our different inner critics and all of our different parts, the inner critic part or the rescuer part or all the different parts of us. Do you think that we could retrain our parts to hope in that same way using a cognitive process?
Absolutely.
How would that look, do you think, Jen?
Well, a lot of times when I do hearts work with people, a lot of it is just that the part or the inner critic doesn't really understand that there's another way to be or another way to think. And so a lot of times it's just giving that information to that part of you, or truth to that thought or critic, however you want to however you want to stick,
That part of your personality or those thoughts.
And
yeah.
It's giving it a choice to choose. That's why I think also, it is a cognitive thing that we have for hope. We can choose to lean into it or not. But it's just, to me, it's all just about having an option and teaching that part of you that it can be better. But, there are times I'm just like, I just want to be in this place of no hope because it just feels good right now.
Sometimes you just want to wallow in the mud.
I just want to wallow, and then I pull myself out of it. Oh yeah. So there are times I'm like, let's just be realistic. I'm going to choose to be this way. But yeah. Hello. But no, because I've really been thinking about this, because I really believe that when we choose into hope, lean into hope, choose to go have that as our mindset, it then leads to action. And we know that behavior is all, thought, action, behavior. And so it just really, I think a lot of times if we can just start with that, I'm choosing to have a better outcome or a better thought, and hope into something different. I don't know. I'm still really thinking about it all a lot lately too. So I may just be like, kind of
stirring around,
throwing out all my thoughts at you, and that's just not good. But
right.
No, I really think we can help to, I don't want to say like retrain, but maybe even reframe and help that part of you, even in that part of your brain, to have a different choice, to have a more positive outcome. So I think you can teach it hope.
Yeah, I think you can. You put all of those pieces together, the different kinds of hope, the magical hope, the group hope, the realistic hope, and you kind of come up with something like, I think it's called transcendent hope. And transcendent hope is my favorite, because transcendent hope, like it sounds, is over the top of everything, and it's patient, right? It's just this hope that I can just keep living through this place and keep going, and that it all works out in the end. It's a kind of a generalized thing. It's just going to be good. It might not be good right here, right now, but it's better because I have this transcendent hope that it's all going to work out. And it's kind of universal. It's this general belief in the future. But what's cool is transcendent hope is your first best defense against despair. When you choose into that transcendent overriding hope, then you're much less likely to be discouraged or fall into despair. For me, it's summarized in the first two tenets of creator-based coaching. Do you remember what they are? The first one. Do you remember?
You are the creator of your life experience.
That's right. You are the creator of your life experience. That's the first one. And then the second one, you have within you light and truth, all the power you need to grow and progress. when you look at those two tenets, you just can't help but feel hopeful. I'm the creator of my life experience. I have light and truth inside of me, all the power that I need to grow and progress. That creates transcendent hope in me and lets me choose. You're going to say something.
Yeah, I loved the Monday morning inspiration email from CMH Coaching. And if you guys aren't getting it on the podcast or
You so need to.
50 girls, sign up for it. So go to cmhcoaching.com and you can sign up to receive that Monday morning inspiration. It's so cool. But at the very end of the email, and you have to, I mean, it's a wonderful email. I loved it.
Did you like the pink font?
Yes, I loved it.
That was my favorite part. Magical hope needs to be pink and it needs to have unicorn because that's what magic is. It's pink.
So,
yes.
So yes. And I loved so at the very end is the quote from Martin Luther King. And it's beautiful too. So I actually did a screen capture of it. But it says, we must accept finite disappointment, but never lose infinite hope. And so I was like, okay, well, what does finite mean? I was pretty close to what I thought it meant. But the meaning of finite is having definite or definable limits. So I loved that the disappointment has finite limits, right? It has limits.
It ends.
Definable. It ends, right?
Yeah.
Hope can be infinite and just go on and on. And I was like, just being in Hawaii last week,
yes,
just thinking about things that seem infinite. Look at the stars in the sky. Like with a telescope, with your bare eye, those stars go on and on and on and on. The sands of the sea, like not only were they the sand that I was walking on, but that sand went in the ocean. And when I went snorkeling, there was sand way out in the ocean. So, infinite. What does that
There
look
is
like?
no end.
Yeah.
Yeah. And isn't that a beautiful thought that there is no end to hope?
Mm-hmm.
That it just keeps coming. If we choose it. If we don't choose it, it'll still keep coming, but you won't notice. But it really does just keep coming and we can choose into it. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, because collectively the future is bright.
Mm-hmm.
And that hope says, I believe in a bright future despite of the present challenge. Because the present challenge is finite, but hope is infinite. That's my favorite kind of hope.
And the present challenge is sucky.
Yes, it is.
They
They don't like the present challenge. Don't like it.
But when I choose hope, then the challenge still is sucky, but I have something.
But it's a little less sucky. Have you noticed that? It
takes some weight off your shoulders.
A little bit, yeah.
I have and I know I've shared this with you guys, but this is what I like to do when I get in that situation. And this helps to retrain my inner critic too, is whatever the thing that comes up, like whatever the sucky thought is, like, let's say you're dealing with some type of stressor or whatever. And you're like, I'll never, I'm just going to put this, I'll never be successful.
We'll do the common ones.
All or never.
There's
I'm not enough.
Money.
I'm not enough. Let's just do that. I'm not enough.
Not enough.
This is not enough.
Yeah.
And so it's that, and it's just running through your head. To add a little bit of hope to that, I just put my favorite 3-letter word on the end. I'm not enough yet.
That is the best hostess ever.
YMCA. Why?
Shifts it. It's no longer stopped. It's now opened up to all possibility.
Yes.
I just always put it on. I'm not enough yet. I don't have enough time yet, or I don't have enough money yet. I mean, you just put that on the end and it just opens up possibilities, and it just takes kind of like that out of it.
Well, then that sweet feeling of my jeans don't zip yet.
Yes.
That's huge.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. I love that. Yet.
Yes. There's no sun outside yet, it's going to come,
Yeah. Yeah. That's amazing.
And I think I said something to, I don't know where we were, but I just said, yet is my hope word.
Yes.
Yet is my
Yes.
hope word. So.
Yet is a beautiful hope word. It's the best. It is. I think we're just going to end on that because yet is truly the hope word. Yes, is beautiful. Thank you. Okay, so let's talk about what's coming up. Tomorrow is Coach and Clear. Our numbers are growing and our sessions are improving. They have been so good lately. Really deep, cathartic, clearing, and so much hope. That's the one thing I really noticed. We end those sessions, everybody is in a hopeful place. It is so beautiful.
So Beth, for our listeners, can you just talk a little bit more about what is Coach and Clear?
Coach and Clear. Coach and Clear is a really unique thing. I don't know of any other coaching system that has something called Coach and Clear or like Coach and Clear, because we use this model of Coach, Clear, Create. And it's the same model that we use in a private coaching session, only we go deeper, it's a longer session. But in a Coach and Clear, we come in and we talk about, kind of do a little bit of coaching, what we'd like to have happen in our lives. And we just spend 10, 20 minutes talking as a group. There's like half a dozen, maybe 8 of us that are coming regularly. And we're just talking for a few minutes, what we'd like to work on, what we have going in our lives. We get a little coaching back and forth in the group, and it's just lovely. Then we do something called emotional release, and we clear the energies and the emotions and the thought patterns and the habits. We work as a group and we clear those things. So that's the coach and the clear. And then from that place of hope, because that feels so good, you lighten your heart, you lighten the load off of your shoulders. It's just a beautiful feeling to be clear. Then we create. Everybody brings a journal. We spend a few minutes writing what came to us during that clearing part of our session together. It's generally quite quiet, introspective. It's a beautiful release. And it's a great way to find peace in the middle of the month or the middle of the week. But then you'll write it down. What did you feel like you wanted to do next? What did you feel lift? What did you bring into that session that's no longer there? And you're journaling that and then making a plan, the create, for what's going the next week while you'll work on. We do them every single Tuesday. So it's really nice to come in. This is how I did last week. This is what I want to work on this week. And then at the end of the session, this is where I'm going. And it's with a group of people who care. Yeah. Coach and Clear is a spectacular, really special meeting.
Well, just the synergy that comes with coming together, even though it's virtual, there's something to be said about that.
Yeah.
You can still feel it because, again, it's one of those truths.
Yeah, that collective energy when people come together, like the people come together to create group hope. Only this is a realistic group hope. This is not, we're going to be rich by Tuesday. Okay. I know, much as we all would like to be. Then that's tomorrow. But then Wednesday we have book club. Can you tell us about book club, JC?
Yeah. So book club is, again, a place that we can come together and collectively read the same book and have discussions weekly. It's a weekly event that happens. And we're going to wrap up our, I don't know how many people were able to come last week. I was in travel, so I wasn't able to join. But we're going to be starting the new book, which is The Mutant Message Down Under. And it's by Marlo Morgan. And it'll go pretty fast. But
I thought that was the strangest title for Mutant Message. If I picked it up just out of curiosity, is this like a space alien mutant? And I didn't realize that as she traveled with the Aborigines, they thought she was so different that they referred to her as mutant. So it made a lot more sense. Yeah. But that's a great book. I really enjoyed that one.
Good. Yeah, I haven't read it yet, so I'm excited to delve into it. And
that makes the title make a little more sense. The main character, they refer to her as mutant in a very fond, very loving way. So there you go.
Love it. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of good in that one. That's going to be really fun. And then Thursday, we have coach training for all the coaches in our program. That's going to be great. And then, of course, again, next Monday, we'll have the live. But then we have something really special coming up on Saturday, the 8th of April. It's our Jumpstart meeting, and Jen's going to lead it. It's emotions and essential oils. You want to talk about that just a little bit, Jen?
Oh, I'm just going to be teaching a little bit about how each essential oil has a personality to it, an emotional personality, and what that, by using that oil intentionally, how it can help with whatever emotionally we are trying to either shift, change, or get less of, or get more of. And so we'll just talk a little bit about that. And then we'll also do some visualizations with the oils and how to use them that way. So,
and can we do that to grow hope?
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
what would that look like?
Well, I think really honestly, with what we talked about today, so it's a mindset.
Okay.
Hope is a mindset. And so you can use the oils to identify maybe what part, or like what area or what thought process maybe needs a little bit of shifting to be able to step more into that mindset.
Okay.
Or you can use them to open up more of, like, say, you want to experience more of something in your life. And so I think I'll think a little bit more about that, about how to do it with hope. But yeah, because I honestly believe every time we do something to make ourselves more empowered and we feel emotionally better, that increases our ability to have more positive thoughts in our life, and probably possibly more hope. So
yeah, I think it's,
when things smell good, I feel good. So
smelling good makes all the difference to me.
When you smell bad,
when you smell something
The world
bad,
does not look good. That is so true. That is so true. Okay, you guys. Well, here is to a week of smelling good and creating hope. How's that sound? We'll be back. We'll be back next Monday, same time, same bat channel, and we'll talk for the very last time about hope. And then we'll be moving on into April, because spring will have sprung.
Woo!
No more slugging into anything. We're going to spring into spring, right?
Love it.
Totally. All right. Well, you guys take good care. I will see you soon.
Bye, guys.
Feeling down and blue, I found a trick that I'll share with you. I can choose a better way with every little thought I think. If I wake up with a bad attitude, I fill my mind with gratitude. I give thanks for everything with every little thought I think. I can choose to be happy, choose to be free, moment by moment. It's all up to me, 'cause what I think about, I bring about. That's the way it is, and there is no doubt. Day by day I pave the way with every little thought I think.
Hey, thanks for joining us today in A Creator-Based Life. I hope you felt that compassion, mindfulness, and hope you came seeking today. You can find more of it at cmhcoaching.com or on Linktree/cmhcoaching. Of course, any social media outlet, we're there too. Because you felt the benefit and light in this message, please invite those you care deeply about to join us. Help us to create a ripple effect across the globe of compassion, mindfulness, and hope. Then we can create a creator-based life together. Have a great week, y'all. We'll talk to you soon.
Moment by moment, it's all up to me, 'cause what I think about, I bring about. That's the way it is, and there is no doubt. Day by day I pave the way with every little thought I think. Day by day I pave the way